It's Monday, November 25. In the headlines, some NWC customers set to benefit from amnesty on outstanding water bills. In business news, Guardian Holdings Limited will sell its insurance company in the Netherlands. Regionally, Delta Airlines returns to Barbados. And in sports, Jamaica's Sunshine Girls and England's Vitality Roses set to clash at the National Indoor Sports Centre. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Thousands of customers of the state-owned National Water Commission are set to benefit from a 3-month amnesty. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement on Sunday as he addressed the public session of the 81st Annual Conference of the Jamaica Labour Party at the National Arena.
The Prime Minister says an amnesty will be introduced for some people who have been disconnected by the NWC because of unpaid bills.
For persons who have been disconnected from the NWC water supply for debts 2 years or more outstanding, who are pensioners or who are assessed as being in need based on the path beneficiary identification standards, the NWC will write off totally the debt that is owed.
He also announced planned changes in the cost of GCT on electricity. After
the next budget, which is in March coming up, the government will reduce GCT on electricity from 15%, which it is now, to 7%.
He says this will allow for the rollout of a prepaid electricity billing system.
Now, the JPS will be required to roll out prepaid meters nationally, particularly in vulnerable communities.
People's National Party candidates won both divisional by-elections on Friday. Newly re-elected councillor for the Ainon Town Division in Clarendon Northern, Delroy Dawson, has his work cut out for him as he takes on his 3rd term in local government representation. Constituents are calling for better roads and economic opportunities. According to the Electoral Office of Jamaica, Mr. Dawson edged out his teacher colleague, Suzette Barton, in Friday's by-election by a mere 54 votes. That means the PMP now has a tie in Clarendon Municipal Corporation. The Jamaica Labour Party's Joel Williams will remain the mayor. In Morant Bay, St. Thomas, the People's National Party's Yvonne Rosemary Shaw, a former mayor, polled 2,096 votes to defeat Winston Downey, 1,978 of the Jamaica Labour Party. The constituency has 11,009 registered voters. The by-election had a voter turnout of 37%. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Labour Party has secured victory in the 2 parliamentary by-elections. The People's National Party declined to contest the parliamentary by-elections. In Northwest St. Andrew, the JLP's Dwayne Smith has been elected as the next Member of Parliament, replacing a former Finance Minister and Member of Parliament, Dr. Nigel Clark. Former House Speaker Marissa Dalrymple-Filbert got 4,146 votes to the independent challenger, Lloyd Gillings, of 1,434 votes in the race for the South Trelawney seat. The Planning Institute of Jamaica is estimating that the goods-producing sector, which accounts for 30% of GDP, fell by 6.5% during July to September quarter. The PIOJ is also estimating that all subsectors within the goods-producing sector tumbled. Mining and quarrying fell by 15.2%. Agriculture, forestry, and fisheries declined by 13.5%. Construction fell by 2.8%, and manufacturing contracted by 2%. The services sector, which accounts for 70% of GDP, dipped by 1.20%. All subsectors within the service sector also declined, including electricity and water by 5.8%, hotels and restaurants by 2.1%, and other services by 1.5%. Wholesale and retail fell by 1.4%. Real estate and renting by 1%, and finance and insurance services also fell by 1%. The government is exploring the possibility of using concrete in the construction of low-use community roads island-wide. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure during the official handover of a concrete road at Bay Farm Villa Close in St. Andrew, West Central last week. The work was undertaken in partnership with Caribbean Cement Company Limited and parent company Cemex.
And given the number of roads that we have, and Jamaica has a significant ratio of roads per square mile, it would be prohibitive if we intended to cover many of these roads if we were to replace asphalt with concrete.
Noting that construction of asphalt roads is more economical, he says experts are looking at utilizing the concrete solution in the low-use areas.
So far, when we are doing interventions for roadways, we are using asphalt in both these low-use areas and in the high-use areas. So in one sense, we could start the introduction of the concrete solution in the low-use areas that don't require, for example, the thickness of the concrete, the steel reinforcements that have to go in, the control of water, and the necessary application of friction to the surface.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is urging residents to play their part in ensuring that the upgraded infrastructure is maintained.
But we also want to encourage the planting of trees. So they have left some land space, and it is for the residents now, right, to put in hardy trees that can last and survive the harsh and sunny environment, and to come together on your Labor Day, your Christmas Day, because you need a space for the community to move around in. And so we have left that space, but you have to use it fully. That space does not compete with vehicular traffic. So it's exclusively for your use as a community garden, community park.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. NCB Financial Group subsidiary insurance giant Guardian Holdings Limited will sell its insurance company Thoma Exploitate BV in the Netherlands. The board of directors of Guardian on November 19, 2024 approved the execution of a sale and purchase agreement with PIB Group Limited for the sale of all its 100% equity in Thoma Exploitate BV. The transaction is subject to regulatory approval in the Netherlands. The Jamaica Stock Exchange is currently advertising for the post of Chief Executive Officer, as current Managing Director Dr. Marlene Street Forrest will retire on December 1, 2024. Deadline for application is November 30, 2024. While Street Forrest is set to retire early next month, it is understood that she will remain in charge of the JSE beyond her retirement date until a replacement is found. Candidates being considered for the position are required to possess a master's degree in finance, business administration, economics, or a related field, a minimum of 10 years experience in progressive leadership in financial services, preferably in capital markets or stock exchanges, and must include proven experience at the CEO level. In addition, they must have a deep understanding of security laws, regulation, and market trends and technologies, strong financial acumen, strategic thinking, and innovation mindset, and excellent communication, stakeholder management, and interpersonal skills. The Jamaica Stock Exchange generated net profits after tax of $364.4 million off of total income of $1.953 billion during the 9-month period ending September 30 this year. According to the company's unaudited financial statements for the period, this represents an increase of 31.3% in net profits and 18.4% on total income when compared with a similar period last year. The assets of the Jamaica Stock Exchange climbed by $411.8 million, or 13.9%, to $3.37 billion as at September 30 this year. During trading for the period November 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Microfinance lender Dollar Financial Services Limited, with 1,417,294 units, represents 11.62% of the market volume in terms of sales. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, with 1,410,607 units, represent 11.57% of the market volume in terms of sales. Media conglomerate Radio Jamaica Limited, with 1,226,669 units, represent 10.06% of the market volume in terms of sales. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the stock market, we turn to the forex market. On November 21, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $74.39 million was bought from forex traders, while US $68.56 million was sold to forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $157.96 and bought the US dollar for $156.99. The difference between the buy and sell rate was 97 cents, which represents a profit for forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian forex traders earned a trading profit of $1.96 for transaction with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $113.78 and bought for $112.79. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $8.14, selling it for $201.14 and buying it for $193. For the credit report tip of the day, thinking about starting your own business, your credit score might be your secret weapon for securing the funding you need to turn your dreams into a thriving reality. Whether you're leveraging personal savings, applying for grants, securing loans, or even attracting investors. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Janice Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, Barbados is gearing up for a tourism boost, with bookings from the U.S. expected to jump by 31% this season. That's according to Minister of Tourism Ian Gooding-Edgehill, who shared the news at a press conference celebrating the return of Delta airline flights from Atlanta. The minister highlighted that Delta alone is forecasted to bring over 20,000 passengers, contributing to significant revenue growth for the island.
I must acknowledge that the United States of America continues to be one of Barbados' leading source market. In 2023, Barbados' estimated sea capacity for the United States was reported at 263,033, compared to estimates for 2024 of 392,315, reflecting an increase of 67% year-on-year. This record indicates the records indicate 170,954 passenger arrivals, which reflects a growth of 31.7% year-over-year. With Delta, we are sure to continue to see the trend toward increased passenger numbers from the U.S. market to Barbados. The airline has already 25,000 bookings, and they're anticipating between 50 to 75,000 within a year. Based on Delta's forecasting, the amount of visitors spent in Barbados will have a local economic impact of approximately $300 million US.
India, the world's third largest oil consumer, is eyeing a potential deal with Guyana to secure crude through direct transactions, ensuring stable supply and pricing. Guyana's Vice President, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, says the possibility hinges on financial benefits for both nations. Neil Marks has more on this developing story.
Guyana is a rising star in the global oil industry, with oil production increasing by an annual average of 98,000 barrels per day from 2020 to 2023. India, hungry for reliable supplies, sees Guyana as a potential energy source and wants to secure a country-to-country deal with Guyana, a set volume and a set price. But on the 3-day visit of the Indian Prime Minister to Guyana, there were no concrete developments.
So we have not discussed any element of direct transaction for the sale of our crude to India.
But Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo said such a deal could be considered in the future once the terms are mutually acceptable.
And in the future, I think if it makes sense to both parties, it has to make sense to them, and it also has to make sense to us, financial sense. But I think we should work towards something like that. We don't have a problem with that, but there's nothing that we have worked on that will result in any sale of crude in the next year or so, because we already have people to market our crude.
For sure, India is not going to give up in its pursuit of Guyana's crude and will wait for when the time is right. That much was made clear from the delegation from Delhi in Guyana this week.
As far as long-term contracts are concerned, yes, this is something that we have flagged to the Guyanese side in the past, and they are aware of it. I would expect that as the volumes available to the Guyanese side in terms of crude and gas availability rise, they would be in a position to enter into longer-term contracts, because those are things that will help us to offtake larger volumes in a more predictable way and make our transportation of such large volumes also economically feasible.
But India is not sitting and waiting for a direct purchase agreement. If the door opens to other opportunities, it will go for it.
Guyana has proven as well as estimated reserves of oil and gas, which are very promising. We would be interested in participating in the exploration and production phase as well. Our oil companies are certainly looking at this, and if they do get an opportunity, they would be willing to invest, as we have invested in many countries of the world far from the shores of India.
Crude oil production has been the driving force behind Guyana's remarkable economic transformation in recent years. In 2022, the country recorded a staggering GDP growth rate of 62.3%, the highest real GDP growth globally, according to the International Monetary Fund. Guyana's recoverable oil and natural gas reserves are currently estimated at over 11 billion oil equivalent barrels, and with ongoing exploration in its offshore waters, this figure could very well climb even higher. For the newsroom, Neil Marks reporting.
On a Sunday, regional linguistic enthusiasts took to the stage at the 4th Central American and Caribbean Japanese Language Speech Contest, hosted for the first time in Trinidad and Tobago at the University of the West Indies. More details.
Held every 3 years since 2015, the Central American and Caribbean Japanese Language Speech Contest inspires and invites participants who successfully rose through national qualifying ranks to showcase their passion for Japanese language and culture. On Sunday, His Excellency Matsubara Yutaka, Ambassador of Japan, welcomed students from Costa Rica, Cuba, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Jamaica, Nicaragua, Panama, Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago,
where we not only celebrate the Japanese language, but also the vibrant culture exchanges that enrich our communities. Today, we gather to experience and appreciate the eloquence and creativity of our contestants, whose skills are testament to the bonds of friendship between Japan and its Caribbean and Latin American partners.
Member of BP Renegade Steel Orchestra, Emmanuel Joseph, shared his experience of cultural exchange between Japan and Trinidad and Tobago.
So I actually had the pleasure and the absolute honor to visit Japan earlier this year in August. I was able to go with a delegation from BP Renegades to conduct a steel pan workshop with a Sukiyaki Steel Orchestra. So they have a festival, Sukiyaki Meets the World, in Nanto, Toyama, and we were able to go for just about 2.5 weeks, and we worked with them as they prepared for the festival.
Guyanese guest presenter Melissa Lynch noted the value of strong cultural and educational exchange between Trinidad and Tobago and Japan.
My hope for my country is very simple, that we take a page out of Trinidad and Tobago's book, which is to foster greater economic and other cultural relations with Japan, to try to establish some of the programs that you have here, which are absolutely excellent, without question.
The Japanese speech contest was a fun cultural extravaganza featuring cultural performances and trivia quizzes to origami workshops, and ending with our Trinidad and Tobago representative, Matthias Elliott, winning second place. Stacia Yaward, TTT News.
In sports, Jamaica's Sunshine Girls and England's Vitality Roses, who are currently halfway through their 4-match Horizon series, are on a quest to see which team will take first hold of the inaugural Rowan Hornsby Trophy. The series trophy is named in honor of Molly Rowan, OJCD-OD, on behalf of Netball Jamaica, and Jean Hornsby on behalf of England Netball. This home and away series between Jamaica and England will become a fixture on the international calendar for the next 4 years. The Rowan Hornsby Trophy will be presented for the first time in Jamaica at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston to the winner of the 4-match Horizon series. 2 of the 4 matches have already been played, with England holding a 1-0 lead after winning the second match 55-47. The first match ended in an exciting tie, 49-49. Those matches were played in Manchester, England. Jamaica's Sunshine Girls are eagerly looking forward to the next 2 matches, which are scheduled for Monday, the 25th of November at 6:30 p.m. and Tuesday at 7 p.m. at the National Indoor Sports Centre. Over now to cricket. The highly anticipated CG United Super 50 Cup final between the Jamaica Scorpions and Barbados Pride was set for action at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy, but things took an unexpected turn. Wayne Cunningham has the details.
The CG United Super 50 Cup final was abandoned without a ball being bowled, with a media release from Cricket West Indies indicating that both finalists, the Barbados Pride and the Jamaica Scorpions, forfeited the final. Cricket West Indies has also announced that there is no champion for this year's competition. The tournament's organizers made the announcement following a heavily rain-affected match day. According to the playing conditions applicable to the tournament, if no play was possible at all, or in the event of a tie, no result, or game abandonment, both teams would be declared co-winners of the tournament. However, around 5:45 p.m., the officiating team determined that the game could proceed as a 20-over-side contest at the latest possible start time of 6:17 p.m. They informed the players of this and that the toss would be conducted at 6 p.m. Despite assurances from the umpires and match referee that the conditions were safe for play, both captains failed to be present for the toss, allowing time to elapse past the latest starting time point. As a result, both teams failed to take the field, effectively refusing to play. This resulted in a double forfeit, with no champion being declared. Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks for watching.